Hello, everyone. Hi. Coming to you live here on Instagram and on YouTube. I am Phylecia Jones, and this is the Wednesday edition of Travel the World as a Speaker. And today we're going to talk about the most requested speaking topics. So for those of you who are looking to leverage speaking so that you can travel the world, you need to pay attention to this, because these are going to be the things that will help you get booked fast, often, and a lot. That's it. Now, of course, we're going to do my favorite thing. We're going to talk about maybe a little travel story. Actually, I'm not sure if I even have a travel story, because the girl is a little sleepy right now. I don't know why. So I'll figure out if I have a travel story. Otherwise, I'm just going to talk about, a few things when it comes to this speaking world and how you can keep leveraging speaking so that you can travel the world. Now, one thing I will say as we get deeper into this, before we even get started. So for those of you who are needing help finding more speaking gigs, iFindYouClose.com. That is where we research and send out speaking opportunities to you to help you get on stage. So we do the brunt of the research for you. All you got to do is just apply, get on stage, and invite us. That's all you have to do. And we post every Monday. So a new crop of gigs have been posted on Monday. So go check it out, take a look, and see what is going on over there. All right, so let's go get ready. Let's get into this topic. I don't really have a travel story for you today, but one of the things I really want to talk about is what is going to help you get booked as a speaker. And we can talk about a lot of things as a speaker. Hey, Love Sherry Amore, how are you doing? We can talk about a lot of things as a speaker. And here's the thing. You can get on stage and talk about just about anything. Like, seriously, I got on stage, I talk about budgeting. Now I talk about speaking. Now I talk about any other thing that they pay me to do. But there are a couple of topics that will always get you booked. And I will say this is one of the things that if you are trying to really leverage speaking to travel a lot. Now, of course, if you're trying to leverage growing your business, building your brand, making money, you could do this as well. But I want you to pay attention to this. Just pay attention that these few topics are going to be the ones that are fairly global. So you got to start thinking global. Like, if you don't want to just speak here at home in your state, in your basement, you got to think of topics that are very open and very global, and that you wouldn't have to really explain a lot when it comes to getting on stage. So let's go ahead and jump into these, because I'm not going to keep you that long. So the very first one, the most requested speaking topics, and all of this is coming from all of the research we have been doing over at iFind You Close. I think at this point we have looked at over 3,000, got to be 3,200 different websites, events across the globe, and this is what I see on a regular basis. So the first one, leadership. Now, I actually do think this is a very global topic. Now, leadership is a very broad subject, but it is a topic that a lot of companies, remember, if we're trying to get speaking gigs, we're trying to make money, you have to go to places that will at least build up your brand fairly quickly, or at least will pay you. So you're either building or you're converting into being paid as a speaker. But leadership is actually a topic that is very broad, is very global, and you can go around the world with a leadership topic. Now, remember, there's quite a few things under leadership. You'll have to put your own spin on it, but leadership, if you do it well, can actually get you around the world. Number 2, communication. Now, this one is an interesting one when it comes to speaking globally. Now, you gotta remember, all these topics that I'm giving you are very broad. So you got to think of, when it comes to communication, how we communicate here in the United States is not how people communicate in the UK or the rest of Europe or in Asia. So you have to think of communication in a way that would work for you and putting your own spin on it, okay? But it is a very global topic. You just have to think, if you're trying to take this around the world, you have to think in global communications, like social media. And I'm not talking about the marketing side of social media. I'm just talking about the communication side of social media. What are we trying to convey on social media? How different countries, how different groups, how different cultures use it. So you could think of it that way if you're trying to go global when it comes to communication. Number 3, personal development. Now, to be honest, I don't actually think this one is a very global one. Now, it can get you global. I just think so personal development is very personal. So that's why I've like, you got to really pay attention to it, because sometimes personal development is based on what workers are going through, what people are going through at that moment, and you have to be very culturally aware of other cultures and other people when you get into the world of personal development. Now, there are some things that are very global when it comes to personal development, being a better person, being a better person, being a better worker, but also remember, when you are doing these things, hey Annette, how you doing? But when you are doing these things and you want to use this as traveling, you have to just think bigger than what you are thinking, because sometimes we think personal development, how do I exercise every day? That may not work in a different country, because their thing is like, we don't exercise, we work. Like, why would we exercise? So you have to really think of it in that way if you're really trying to do this thing on a bigger note. So for those of you who are just joining, thank you. We're talking about the most requested speaking topics, and I'm trying to relate them from my viewpoint of trying to take a talk global so that you can travel the world with these specific topics. Okay. So first, we've talked about leadership. We talked about communication, personal development. There's only 5 of these, so we got 2 more. So the 4th one is sales. Sales is a very global topic because everybody, everywhere, no matter the culture, no matter the language, they all want to know how to make money. Now, we may think people don't want to know how to make money, but everybody wants to know how to make money. And if you are coming in as a sales speaker, I must tell you, this will be one of the talks that will get you booked a lot. You don't have to be a sales speaker, but I'm just letting you know, sales, everybody wants to know how to sell. And if you're trying to be a big time speaker and get paid $5, $10, $15, $20, $30,000, it's all going to be around sales, just FYI, just to let you know, because that's what they're, there's inspiration, motivation, but it's all slightly wrapped in something around sales and being a better person and all that kind of stuff. So you'll see once you hit those bigger stages. Now, of course, if you have any questions, just go ahead and pop them in the DM or slide over into this comment box. I'll be here. I'm not going to be here that long, but I want to be able to answer the questions that you have when it comes to these topics. And like I said, this is just a list of some of the most popular topics that we have seen. Trust me, I have seen topics from how to knit to how to be a better baker. So it really doesn't matter. But these are some of the ones that I'm seeing on repeat over and over and over again. Now, Annette has a question. I do have one more for you. She said, how about sales in terms of communication? It's all going to be the same. Now, you asked a good question, Annette. A lot of these topics are going to be mixed and matched. Okay. So when it comes to, are you a sales speaker, communication speaker, a lot of it does come down to how you are marketing and branding yourself and how you're marketing and branding that talk. So if it's a sales talk and this is a group that needs sales, but they're not really interested in the communication, but that you can talk about both, and you can wrap them up in both, because all these things you need to be able to communicate in order to sell. So a lot of this is kind of a marketing ploy, so that you can get in front of the right person, because some people may not we don't understand sales, or we may not understand communications, but we understand the other thing. But you can definitely, communications, like I said, is a very broad topic. So remember, these are very broad topics, so that you can add different things in. But yeah, sales and communication. You can do both, like how to be a better communicator when it comes to selling. But a lot of this is going to be on how you are marketing yourself. Are you the top sales strategist in the world? Are you the top communication strategist in the world? And what you'll find is, somebody who's the top communication strategist can also pitch on how to use communication to be a better salesperson, to increase sales. No different than motivational speakers will come in and teach you how to be a better leader, a better communicator. So those types of things. Let me know if that makes sense. Okay. Now, the last one, one of the more blah, blah, blah. One of the most requested speaking topics is marketing. Marketing. Remember, when we're thinking about speaking on a global scale, when we're trying to travel the world and we want things that'll fit not just for home, but in other places, remember, some of the bigger, people always want to know how to sell something, and they always want to know how to market something. So marketing is always going to be a big one. And when I say marketing, I'm talking about advertising, social media, different aspects of all the different platforms, old school, public relations. That's going to be wrapped under that big, broad topic of marketing. Now, of course, you got to be able to, you can add in communications because, I mean, it's all a mixed bag. But when I'm out there researching, this is what people are putting down that they are looking for. So a lot of it comes down to you and how you want to kind of put yourself out there. You know, are you a marketing person? Are you a communications person? It really does come down to how you want to be known and how you want to be remembered. So just remember that. Annette is asking, have you gotten any feedback on the talks you've done regarding if it's too personal or too business-like? No, Annette, I've never gotten any feedback on if my talks are too personal. You have to tell me more, or if it's too business-like. No, never gotten any feedback on that. So, I have seen some speakers that have gotten way too personal and it's cringy. So I'm not that type of person. I don't get that personal about anything. And no, I have not been told that anything is too business like. I already know I'm not much of a business speaker. Like I'm not like, so here are quarterly reports. That's not me. Probably what you see here, I'm on stage is a little bit more toned down, polished, and practice. But no, I've never gotten any feedback like that. So yeah, so I mean, I guess if anybody didn't like it, they just didn't tell me. Oh well, their loss. All right, so we've talked about the 5 most requested speaking topics, and these are just things that I've seen from the research over the last 2 years because this is our 2-year anniversary month. Yay! Whew, 2 years looking at a lot of events, wanting a lot of speakers. It does get a little blurry sometimes, but I actually do remember quite a few of these gigs. So I don't know if my brain is working great. I don't know. But when it comes to the most requested speaking topics, remember these are very broad, and this is just how people are putting it out there to the world. We want somebody to come talk about leadership. And when they say we want somebody to come talk about leadership, communication, this is your chance to put your spin on it, okay? Your spin on what leadership is and how to be a better leader, a better communicator, and things like that. So this is your take on it. So like I said, leadership is a big one. Leadership is always going to be a big one. Communication, personal development is always good, and that's usually on personal development side. And personal development can include health and wellness, mental wellness, exercise, inspiration, all these things. So these are very broad topics. Sales, and then finally marketing. These are some of the most requested talks. And it really doesn't matter the industry you are in. These are just things that are most requested. And a couple of little bonuses, people who can talk technology. But there's so many different aspects of technology. But they're always looking for these types of speakers as well. So hopefully this helps you a little bit when you're thinking about how you want to position yourself as a speaker. And there's one more thing I want to tell you. So if you don't want to be specific like this, you can be a motivational speaker. That's the other topic because it's so broad. Okay. But a lot of this comes down to you marketing yourself and how you want to be known and be remembered. Annette is saying, I got feedback that I shared too much personal, not TMI, but maybe my experience. You know what? It also can be, you know what? I would say take that information and kind of, figure out what was too personal to them. Sometimes people are just triggered, isn't that the word the kids are using these days? So people are just a little bit triggered when they see certain things or hear certain things that may be personal to them. And so, of course, they're going to turn it back on you. But you'll have to kind of manage how personal you want to get when you want to get on stage. And then also it comes down to how you're telling the story. Because it is interesting. Some people can tell very personal stories, but they put a spin on it that makes it like, oh my gosh, like the best thing I've ever heard in my entire life. So you just have to kind of work on that one if you think it is too personal. And Annette said, are the events you're looking at about diversity in speakers? Are the events you're looking at about diversity in speakers? Annette, I'm assuming you're asking me, do these events want diversity or if they have specifically asked for looking for diversity when it comes to their speakers. Here's the thing. A lot of events have said that they are looking for diversity. And I don't, to be honest, I have never seen a lot. Okay. Some are very specific that say that we are on a mission to have a more diverse stage. I will say out of the 100 that I look at, maybe one does that. So no one else, very few events put out that they have a mission for inclusion and diversity. It's a little bit better now. I will say this. It is a little bit better now when I go and do the research and they say that we are committed to diversity and inclusion on our stage, all that kind of stuff. But no matter what, even if they don't say it, you're going to have, I would say go for it anyway, because a lot of events are still navigating how to be about that diversity life, if that makes any sense. A lot of events are still trying to figure out how to maneuver through that. Some have not blatantly said it. You should not let that get in the way of you going to get gigs. So, and you should. I'm glad you brought this up. I talked about diversity before, so I'll make sure I will bring this up again. So yeah, they're not specifically saying it, but still go for it. But then quite a few say that they are. But here's one thing I will tell you as a speaker and how to not get emotionally involved in the outcome of you pitching. Diversity means very different things to a lot of people. Just remember that, okay? Always remember that, because Annette, you and I may have a vision of diversity that is completely different than other people. Like somebody told me they had diversity in hair color, so that was enough. So just remember to not get too emotionally involved in the outcome of you pitching, but just understand that that's just how things go. And unfortunately, in the diversity bucket, all the others are in the diversity bucket. So I'm just going to be very straight up with you right now. So when it comes to diversity, that's when they put in all people of color, people with disabilities, other things. So unfortunately, when you have diversity bucket, also religion, gender identity, sexual identity, mental health identity. That's the unfortunate part about diversity, in that all of us, including people like me, are all in that one bucket, and they can decide what diversity means to them. So that's just how it works. And this is just from sitting on the back end of listening to these conversations. Love Sherry Amore. She's saying, with these popular topics, any suggestions for all the competition for those of us who are new? So I'm assuming you're asking me like which one is the best one to go after. I would say when you are brand new, I wouldn't worry about these categories of topics yet. I would say to hone in what it is that you're really trying to talk about. Okay. Hone in on what you're trying to talk about first. Then we can actually take that talk and shove it we could shove it into one of these categories. And the way I want to talk about it, and what I'm trying to say is, let's just say I talk about public speaking. I can get on stage and talk about public speaking, and for the most part, my talk doesn't fit in any of these categories. But I can go out and hone this talk on public speaking and how we can do all these things for you. And then at some point I can decide, hey TV PhD, and at some point I can decide, you know what, my talk about public speaking is perfect in marketing. So that's all I'm going to do at this point, is talk about public speaking as a way to market your business. And to be honest, that is what I have done. Public speaking as a way to market your business. I also talk about money and budgeting when I first started. So I honed in that talk first. And so when I started going for bigger gigs, or, things that had like these types of categories, my money talk goes under personal development. So it is how to manage your money to be a better worker, how to manage your money to be a better entrepreneur. So now it is under personal development. And my speaking talk, and it can go under many things. So I would just say hone in on what you want to talk about first. Then we'll put the marketing spin on it under one of those categories to see where it would fit the best. Let me know if that helps. Let me know if that helps. And Annette, you are welcome when it comes to the feedback. She says great feedback on diversity. So I'm glad that helped. I've been tracking a lot of these diversity moves over the last few years, and it's quite interesting what events are doing and what events aren't doing when it comes to diversity. And love sharing more. Yeah, hope that you're welcome. Just let me know if that worked for you. So like I said, with these most requested speaking topics, a little bit of it really is just a marketing ploy, because remember, the person who is trying to book speakers, they don't know what we call ourselves, so they're just going to say, I need somebody to come in and talk about leadership. Now it's up to you to put your spin on it. So like if I wanted to come in and talk about money as a way of being a better leader, that's my personal spin on it. So just kind of take these, remember what these are, because when you are pitching, you're probably going to have to go under one of these categories for people to pay attention to you. Okay. But for the most part, these are the very broad topics of what people are looking for. Okay. I'm going to go order Indian food because that's where we are tonight. Went out and did a photo shoot today. So, yeah. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I don't do much these days. I went out amongst the humans, did a little photo shoot. So going to start posting photos, but really excited because they're all about celebrating 2 years of running iFind You Close. Who knew this was going to be a thing? All right, folks. So thank you so very much for tuning in. TV, PhD, love sharing more. Annette Bone, yes, we're having Indian food delivered. I do saag paneer, lamb vindaloo, spicy, with garlic naan. That's what we're having. So hopefully you're hungry now. So thank you for hanging out with me. I will be here tomorrow. Of course, if you have any more questions, put them in the comment box or put them in the comment box if you're on YouTube or Instagram. I will make sure an answer appears. So take care of yourself. And if you need more gigs, go check us out at ifindyoukclose.com. For those of you who are members, we have some new things coming up this month. So just check your emails. So excited for that. So take care of yourself, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Okay. Bye.